Morg, I have a burning question. So we talked about this and I don't know why we never answered it. What the heck happened to Heidi's dog, Bella?
Oh my gosh, she's been missing for multiple episodes now. What is going on? Maybe she did lose her in the breakup.
I feel like she's gone. Like, I mean, and I know that we commented on it and we never really went into it, and it didn't even occur to me until this last episode.
Yeah, she's missing. Operation Find Bella.
Operation, we got to get this girl back. Before we go any further, we are the Double Loser Podcast. I'm Joe. This is Morg.
Hi.
And we're back again to talk about episodes 5 and 6.
5 and 6. 5 and 6.
I knew that.
Yes.
5 and 6 of The Hills Season 2.
And we're so lucky because we're halfway through now, but this season has 12 episodes, Joe, not 10. They gave us a little extra, a little boost.
Bonus. And I think we can owe that all to Spencer, who is really carrying the show.
I know. I bet MTV in 2007 was like, what the heck? We have got more content than we know what to do with. This smiley, crazy man is really giving it his all.
You know, it's such a change from the past season when we were wondering how MTV managed to create these episodes out of nothing.
Yeah, they were like pulling rabbits out of a hat. They were like, I don't know what's coming out of here, but we're going to make a 10-minute scene of Lauren driving to Malibu.
The music and the editing really carried it, I think.
Yeah, but now Spencer's back hurts because he's carrying it all.
Now it's all Spencer for sure. So, Morg, in episodes 5 and 6, we had a lot going on. So we've got Spencer and Heidi are still arguing. Heidi is still really upset with Spencer and those Playboy bunny bimbos.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so they are, ultimately taking a break in this episode. Lauren is a feisty, loyal friend. I love it. She's like, Heidi, you don't need him. Heidi, I hate him. And then Lauren also, at her job right now, there's an intern that comes in from New York to help out for a big dinner in Lisa's house or whatever. And then that's pretty much it for episode 6. And then episode 7, we've got Heidi and Spencer are basically kind of get back together, and a huge riff forms between Lauren and Heidi, I feel like, is the main thing that happens.
And Brody says more words than I've ever heard him say. Like,
absolutely shocked.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot. It was definitely a lot. We got a lot of content.
Yes. And I guess I always knew Heidi and Lauren's like friendship somehow dissolved, but I didn't know it happened this early in the seasons. But so I'm curious now if it stays or if they, that just made me curious watching it.
No, that's so true, because I feel like when I think about what I know about the Hills, they were really good friends, and then they do have a falling out, but same as you, I thought it happened more towards the end of the show. But we do know that Lauren exits the show, I think at the end of season 3, is like she only does the first 3 seasons of the Hills. So, I mean, I guess they have their falling out before that. So, I mean, this would be kind of right on schedule.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't expect it, but they are so young. I feel like when I'm watching it, I still have to remember, like, maybe I would have had these stupid fights at this age too.
I mean, Morg, I feel the same. I will say, I don't know how you're going to feel about this. The whole Heidi, Spencer, and then Lauren doesn't like him kind of made me think of your high school boyfriend, because I very openly did not like him.
I kind of thought about that too, but I was like, okay, first of all, we were in high school. I guess that was like a difference. But then I was just like, but he did suck. So I was definitely thinking about that, because he was such a jerk to you. And I just was like, oh my God, I was Heidi in this situation, being like, I'm going to stay with him.
But the difference is that kind of like how Lauren said, where it's like, look, I don't like him, but like that shouldn't affect our friendship. Like, I feel like we, unlike Heidi, you didn't like, you were like, now there's this really awkward space here. Don't you feel this awkward space right here? Like, we can't be friends. I found that really annoying, and you never did that. So.
Okay, I am thinking about the time that, I don't know, he did something terrible. I probably, like, my high school boyfriend did something terrible. And then to, like, win you back over, you took him to the mall, and he had to go up to people randomly at the mall and tell them he was a tool. And y'all recorded it. I mean, I don't know. I just, and he did it. And he's like trying to win back your favor.
And here I am thinking I'm more mature than Heidi.
Oh my God. But I don't know. Yeah. So I definitely related to this a lot watching it. So I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But it worked out better. You didn't marry the dude.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. Escaped. Thank God. College just split us right up. Thank you, Texas A&M. Thanks and gig 'em.
Thanks. Well, so Morg, the opening of episode 5 is basically, Heidi's got her little girl squad in her apartment, and Audrina is telling Heidi, like, look, Spencer did this. And they're like, get him on the phone, put him on speaker, let's confront him, and he cannot lie if he's on speaker.
Yes, and what she says he did is took her to Pinkberry, which, oh my God, the number of times they said Pinkberry in this scene I loved, because they were like, and what were you doing at Pinkberry? And you took her to Pinkberry. I was like, oh my gosh, how many times can you say this? Like, is this like, did they pay for this section of the scene? Like, they really were getting some marketing right there, even though there was a huge rift that occurred at Pinkberry.
And for those of you who were not into frozen yogurt, if you guys were not around for the craze that took over the early 2000s, Pinkberry was a frozen yogurt shop.
Yes. And Joe, I think like this scene happened so fast, I didn't really understand what was happening. So like Heidi calls Spencer and is like, you took her to Pinkberry the same night we hooked up? Like, is that what the issue was? Because I was still confused. She's like, did we hook up that night? And he's like, obviously. But then she's like, and then you brought Audrina to Pinkberry. So it's like, is the issue that y'all hooked up and then he went on a date? But I mean, we saw the Pinkberry thing. It was like just like a chat. I don't get what the issue is.
I think so. I agree with you. It was a little bit confusing, and it did happen fast. And I was even like Spencer's reaction. I was like, I'm so like, I don't know what's happening right now. But so that is what I understood. Morg was essentially that he'd spent the day with Audrina, like, and then immediately goes and hooks up with Heidi. So I think it was just kind of a scummy move, is what they were really trying to get out of him. Like, did you really take this girl on a date, get her roses, and take her to Pinkberry, which feels like a very odd combination, but hey, who am I to judge? And then come and hook up with me?
Here's a bouquet and a frozen yogurt.
Honestly, Morg, I feel like now I'm having ideas of like, we should somehow make some sort of like the Hills drinking game, because Pinkberry shows up in a lot of episodes where it's like, anytime you hear about Pinkberry or see a Pinkberry, you need to take a sip of your drink.
Yeah, like they'll show it on some of the like LA scenes, kind of doing a scene change. They'll like do like a flash of LA and Pinkberry's up again. I swear they paid for Froyo placement.
But y'all, like, I don't think you realized how huge Froyo was. Like, I mean, anytime I went out with people, it's like, you want to get Froyo?
You and I were just talking before we started recording, and I'm calling this a period piece now, because I am watching the early 2000s like unfold in front of my eyes, and there it is, the frozen yogurt craze.
Vintage, Morg. Vintage.
Oh yes. So I feel like, though, I also couldn't gather like at what point were these roses Heidi's, because that was a factor too. He re-gifted flowers to Audrina, which is like apparently a thing he does.
Wait, is that what it was? I thought it was like he also bought her roses. It's like he went out, got a 2-for-1, gave some to Heidi, and then gave some to Audrina, is what I understood. Like, and what made her mad was she's like, you also gave her roses?
I thought she was saying you gave her my roses.
Maybe Heidi feels like she has a claim on all dozen red roses at this point. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. She thinks she's a princess, Morg.
She does, and the fight just like, as you can tell, made no sense, because they're like, put him on speaker so he can't lie. But also, like, what is he to lie about? Like, if somebody was like, 3 weeks ago, did you do this thing? I think I would be like, I think so. Like, I kind of get Spencer's position here, because he stupidly answers immediately and says, when she goes, did you hook up with me and then take Audrina to Pinkberry or whatever? And he goes, obviously. I was like, wait, what? But I feel like he was just like answering too fast.
But that is so Spencer. Like, from the 5 episodes that I've experienced, Spencer is like, he's very sure of himself and like what he says, and he will like talk his way out of anything. It's like, obviously I did that and there's nothing wrong with that because Heidi, you get me.
Oh my gosh, yes. He always uses that as like an excuse to be like why they're together. As like getting you doesn't mean you should be together.
No, and I also feel like Spencer, like, I don't know, Morg. I don't know. I just feel like my brain does not work anywhere like his. Or obviously I did that.
And there's no taking it back. Like Spencer would never say he didn't mean what he said. He'd just be like, I said obviously on purpose.
But then he does like immediately. He's like, Heidi, I don't know.
Yeah, but he like, it's never like I messed up what I was saying. I answered too quickly. He's just like, I said obviously because I was thinking really fast. It's like not, oh, I'm sorry. Let me slow down. Let me actually think about this date. Okay, you're right. I did do that and I apologize. Of course not.
No, and he's just like he just doesn't stop talking, it feels like, because he also is like, Heidi, don't let these girls do this to you. And he's like, clear your head. And without even waiting for her to clear her head, he's like, what's in your head?
Oh my God, yes. He's like, answer right now. And I feel like the number of times I see him like tell the women on this show to like do something like, be quiet, clear your head, think about it, answer me. It really bothers me because this man is telling everybody what to do all the time.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I feel like Spencer would not fly in 2021.
No, I feel like everything he does like raises the stakes up to like a 17. It's like, instead of this being a, hey, I just want to ask you about this. Like, I get that we were maybe not like officially together at this point, but I do want to know, did you take her on a date the day that we were like hooking up? Because that does hurt my feelings. Instead, it's like, whoa, yes, obviously, clear your head. Tell me what you're thinking. Let me know. It's like, whoa, oh my God, are we like in a like surrender hostages situation? Do we like be talked off a cliff here? Because that's how it feels.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what it was. And I think that's what we both just said was like, it happened so quick. And I think it happened so quick. Like maybe that's Spencer's superpower is he like doesn't give you time to think. He just like bombards you with words.
And it's like escalated words. It's like, gotta answer now. I might not be here tomorrow.
Oh, that made me so mad when he was like, let's see if I answer tomorrow. And I was like, Spencer, is that like a threat?
Yes, he's always kind of slipping those in.
With a smile though, so you don't see it coming.
You never see it coming. And I feel like in those moments, if I was looking at a creepy man smiling at me while he said those words, I don't know if my brain would register that he's threatening me. Like, is he is he happy? Like what? It would not register. Like I think it's like some psychology there.
Like, oh, okay, nice guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like the coworker. So nice to meet you. Hug.
She was just like in awe of that smile.
Yeah.
Which, Morg, makes me feel like he would really make a good cult leader.
Oh, you are onto something there. I think he really would. I think he would have a following, at least in the early 2000s, he would have a following.
He totally would. I mean, it's the smile. It's like, and his aggressive words that mean nothing.
Yeah. And like the urgency. The urgency is there.
Yes, he would have
gotta do this today. Gotta build the new church. We gotta do it right now.
He'd have a cult following of Playboy bimbo bunnies.
What was it that he said? Naked picnic tomorrow.
And that would be every Tuesday as a part of the cult gathering. Naked picnic.
Initiation.
Scary thought right there.
God. At the beginning of episode 5, I legit thought Heidi was maybe like coming to her senses, and she goes to this dinner that I've termed the love-hate dinner, because all the girls, Jen, the random girl, she is there. They're all just hating on men and boys and love, and they're like, I hate love, I hate this. And I thought for a minute Heidi was like gonna really make Spencer wait,
Yeah, but so the whole time they're at this dinner, I guess Spencer is texting Heidi, and she's like, he won't stop texting me. And in that moment, Morg, I was like, I mean, apart from knowing that they're married now, I was like, she's totally going to get back together with him. Like, just looking at her, checking her sidekick, another throwback right there.
I was about to say a period piece for the museum. The friend Jen is like, I'm going to drop your sidekick in this mojito. And I was like, yes, love that. Sidekicks were so cool too. I wanted one so bad.
It was like you could open it up and use both thumbs to type, or you could close it and use it like a regular phone.
Yeah, that was so cool.
So cool. And it felt like product placement, but I mean, what do I know?
Yeah, what do we know? Pinkberry. But Heidi wouldn't give up her singleness for anything, Joe. That's what she said.
So full of crap, but Heidi is like that. Like, I feel like we saw this with the Jordan thing when they broke up. Also, remember Jordan? Does that not feel like an eternity ago?
It does, because Jordan gave us so little. Like, I could forget about him right now and never think of him again.
He gave us nothing, but I need you to think about him again, because after they broke up, Heidi was like the exact same way, where she's super extreme, in my opinion. She was like, I'm ready to get out there. I'm ready. I'm over him. Like, she's
who she was in preschool.
She's exactly who she was in preschool. Boys lined up.
Boys lined up. New boyfriend every day.
Gonna make him fight over me.
Good thing I'm still jumping over fire pits to this day. Preschool Morg, still crazy.
Yes, I can attest to that. So, but then Morg, a random friend who was threatening to throw the sidekick in the mojito, tells Heidi, she's like, you just like got out of the most serious relationship ever. And that surprised me, because I thought it was such a huge deal that Jordan and Heidi dated for 6 months. And I cannot imagine Heidi and Spencer have been dating that long, have they?
Not that long. I feel like there's so much like emotion in their relationship.
Passion.
Oh, we love using passion for anger.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you for giving us that little nugget. Yes, like there's just so many like fights and like it's drama. Like I feel like these people are addicted to that. So it's like they feel like it's more serious because there's just more emotion involved. I don't know. Maybe that's why.
I guess. But I mean, they're always talking about how nobody knows what they're like one-on-one. But I mean, when I see them one-on-one, I still don't see any of this crazy passion or like love.
When I see them one-on-one, they just are rude to each other. They're like poking weird little flirty jokes. Like he's like, broke my bank buying these.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, did you? I'm just like,
didn't you think they'd have a steak named after your boy?
I told you I've been coming here for years. They named a steak after me. I was like, this doesn't look like a great relationship one-on-one either.
Right? So I think this is all why it's so confusing, that they're just so in love.
Yeah, but one-on-one. And that is totally something I feel like people would say in toxic relationships. That's exactly what you would say, right? Everybody sees that y'all are not doing well, and then you're like, but you don't get it when we're alone. And I was like, ooh, that sounds scary.
That's a good point. That does sound creepy. It sounds like
he treats me so bad in front of y'all.
Other people should be able to see it. Yeah, like I feel like it would be a good reflection of your relationship one-on-one if he treats you well in public, but
I mean, that's just me. What do I know?
So, Morg, something else that jumped out to me at this love-hate dinner was Lauren. They're talking about Jason, and that was like similar because it was also very toxic. And yes, we know that. Good on Lauren. She has not gotten back with Jason. But they're talking about how Lauren had picked out her wedding date and everything. And I was like, what? Like, you 20 years old.
Freely offered information. Like, I would never say that crap ever after I'm like that's embarrassing. I'd be like, no, I'm not telling anybody that we thought we were getting married. That was very toxic.
Yeah, like I gotta get my deposit back. We even had our wedding date and venue and everything.
That boy had a wedding date picked out with you?
I'm wondering if Jason didn't know. What, babe? What? Huh?
You want to go out, babe? I don't hear you. I can't hear you until you say you want to go out.
Get married? What?
Yes, I don't know. So what are you going to do? Go to Paris or marry me? I didn't see that coming because again, they're 20 years old. That sounds just so young to me to be getting married to chin straps.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Like, that's a 30-year-old decision. Make the decision to marry the chin strap then.
Mm-hmm.
If you're still committed to the chin strap, then you do love the chin strap.
I love, the amount of times you're saying chin strap here is like hopefully enough for her to realize she doesn't want to marry the chin strap.
Yes. We do get to see a lot in episode 5, Teen Vogue, after this love-hate dinner. Really, the turn of the episode is Lauren's job, which we do love seeing Lauren at her job, not trying.
And just like openly, like, yeah, like, so Lisa's going to have a dinner party at her house. The New York fashion editor's coming and she's bringing her intern. And Lisa needs them to write some cards to remind everyone about this dinner. And she asked them about their handwriting. And Lauren's just like, hello, Whitney's going to write it because my handwriting sucks. And even later, she's like, yeah, Lisa hates my handwriting. It's like, Lauren, I would be practicing.
Did you work on that? Yeah.
Like, you can improve that.
Nope. She's like, I do typing.
Yeah, she's like, I can take care of the spreadsheet. Which in my mind, I was like, can you?
I don't trust you to do that either.
I don't either. And based on Lisa, I don't know that Lisa did either.
Yes. I loved this dynamic, though, because at this, like, the New York intern coming in just really showed us how terrible Whitney and, I mean, I hate to say it, Whitney, because I love you, but how both her and Lauren are really bad interns. And the New York office is not playing around. This girl is like, I go to NYU. I also work for Coco Chanel. I'm doing Teen Vogue's internship while I take 18 hours at NYU. I was like, this girl is not messing around. And Lauren's like, wow.
Morg, the first thing that came to my mind was, is this what an intern would have been like had they not been cast by MTV?
I know, right? Like actually doing work and trying really hard.
And like a really strong work ethic. And then part of me was like, I think to a degree it is, this girl is a New Yorker maybe, because she did not come to play. She was wearing some real sleek clothes and she had a turtleneck and she just strutted into that office. And even the way she talked was so like, let's just get to the point. Like, I'm here to do business.
Yes, no, I was like, we are seeing the juxtaposition of New York and LA right now. These two differences are extreme. She's like not somebody I'd want to be friends with at all, but she is doing the most with the time that she has.
Oh, great intern. I think I could not handle hanging out with her for more than like 10 minutes. It looked exhausting.
Yeah, I was like, when we were talking about this earlier, I was like, yeah, I would definitely like be behind her, like flipping her off, like me.
Making little like Muppet faces, like me.
Before we started recording, me and Joe were talking about how she would definitely be a person that when she'd say things, I would like flip her off behind her back because she's very like know-it-all and tells you what to do and tells you how to do it and tells you what she's talking about, and you're too silly to not know what she means. So she was trying a lot and doing a lot of work, but I just wouldn't love her as a friend.
Well, she was really pretentious, which I find, again, like she worked really hard and she probably does know a lot, but more watching her at the flower shop when she's like, yes, like, oh, I have these in my house. I love these flowers so much. And everything was just
Dahlias.
Like, yes. And what if we mixed them with some chrysanthemums or I don't know. I mean, it was just, and poor Lauren's just sitting there like deer in the headlights. Like she looks so lost and I don't blame her, but agreed. I could never handle hanging out with someone like that because I feel like that's the type of person you'd go to a restaurant with and they would order like some weird wine and be like, oh my gosh, yes, I had this on my trip to Portugal and this is a Rojava and it's delicious.
Yes, I definitely got those vibes from her. I was like, I don't think we would be friends, but I do see what you're putting down and showing these LA interns how Teen Vogue does it in New York, and y'all do a lot in New York.
I know. And it was crazy to see. Like, she was a really good intern.
Yeah, she was doing so much work. And like you said, she just like comes in, sits down with Lauren and she's like, okay, what do you want to do? And what should I do? But she already knew what she wanted to do. And she already knew what she wanted Lauren to do. Like she was pretending to ask. She's like, anyways, you can write these things. And again, Lauren doubles down and is like, I don't write things. My handwriting's bad.
Oh, sweetie, welcome to LA. You work part-time and I don't write. But yeah, Morg, and it kind of made me think of, think it was only a few episodes ago when I think maybe the season finale of season 1, when you commented on how Lauren just kind of like stands there and like waits for things to happen. And this girl was like the
Yeah.
opposite of that. She was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what you need to do. And I think we need to do this and we need to get this weird vase.
Yeah, and she was like making like the whole plan for their day. Like Lauren's never planned her day once at this job. She's like, whoa. I normally get like one task done and I feel really accomplished. So the fact that we're doing 4 today, it's overwhelming.
She's like, this is all my work for the week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then, but Lauren, so they have to go get flowers. Like that's a big factor for this dinner that they're putting on with Lisa's house. And they're at this flower shop and like I was like rooting for Lauren in these scenes because this girl, being the know-it-all pretentious one she is, she's like, oh my God, I wish we'd brought a digital camera. And Lauren, of course, by accident, like has one in her bag. And it's just like this moment where she gets to like save the day or like look like she's contributing. Because this whole time they've been in the flower shop, she said 0 words. And then she's like, I have a digital camera.
I know. And you know, she just had it in there from the night before at the club.
Yeah, it's like pictures of Heidi and Spencer in the club.
I can photograph the flowers.
And I just, I feel like too, whenever they are driving to this flower shop, this is like another pretentious moment of this intern. She says like some word that I'd never heard of like the inspiration that Lisa's looking for her vase. And it just really bothered me because I feel like she knew Lauren didn't know what she meant and she like made Lauren ask her what this vase was. And she's like, it's Asian inspired vase, like just kind of talking down to her. And I was like, you can be a good partner at work and always like explain what you mean and not assume people know, because that's how you do come off like a jerk.
Right. And I mean, let's be real here. I'm sure a bunch of like, I don't know that word. I never heard that word before, but I feel like if I were Lauren, I would have just been like, okay, sounds good. Like, I feel like I do that sometimes because I don't want to sound stupid. Like, what does that mean? So I just am like, okay, yeah. And then when people are like, do you even know what that is? And I was like, you're a jerk. Why did you set me up?
Yeah. Why are you asking? Don't come around here asking questions you don't want the answer to.
Like, people suck. They set you up for that. They're like, want to come off like the smarter person.
Yes. So that just bothered me because I was like, you don't have to act like that, girlfriend. You can totally like help her out, explain things as you say them. You could just have said an Asian inspired vase. Like, why didn't you say that?
Morg, I like to think that this girl was really thrown off by the fact she was being filmed and she just wanted to come off as like being smart. And it didn't really, she wasn't really maybe portrayed the way she wanted to be, is what I like to think.
Okay, that's fair. I feel like though too, like Lisa definitely favored her because we get to this dinner and then we're looking at the table that they've put 10,000 flowers on and everybody is like, oh my God, this looks so nice. This looks amazing. Great job, Emily. Whitney and Lauren are like standing in the corner, of course, waiting for their next task to be told to them. And Emily's the New York intern is just like cleaning everything up, still like being a busy bee. But Lauren says like really half-heartedly, like, I think it's too many flowers. And everyone ignores Lauren until Lisa comes in and says, yep, too many flowers. And so I kind of, again, another moment where I was like, so Lauren does know a little bit. Like Lauren does know some stuff. And Lauren just smirks in the corner. But everybody then is like, oh yeah, you're so right, Lisa. Too many flowers, too many flowers.
Which was annoying because it just showed how everyone just goes with what they think Lisa wants. But I agree. I just wish Lauren would, have the guts to just actually say what she thinks, because she didn't really push it. She just like kind of half-heartedly was like, I think there's too many.
Yeah, it definitely was a moment where I was like, I could totally see that being me though. Like when I was pretty young in my career, being kind of true. Like, I'm not confident enough yet, so I'm going to say this quietly, but not try very hard to make it heard.
Gosh, and standing next to know-it-all intern Emily, like I would probably be really afraid. I'd be like, Emily seems to know everything, so.
Yes, but Lisa lets Emily stay for the dinner and then sends Whitney and Lauren home.
Okay, so, well, first of all, Morg, I wasn't that surprised because intern Emily worked really hard. And then
Yeah,
also intern Emily flew in from New York.
I
So
get it.
I
Yeah.
would, as much as I felt like, man, it should have gone to one of our girls, Whitney, probably. I was like, this girl's visiting LA. She came to, I don't know. I was like, okay, I get that. But I agree.
I guess like watching it, Emily just also is like their mom. Even though she's like their age, she like walks them out and is like, okay, girls, drive safe. Have a good night. And maybe next time I can stay longer. I was just like, she's so adult.
She was, which again, I think goes back to her being really pretentious and how we were saying she's not someone that I think I would want to be friends with, because then Morg, this annoys the crap out of me when I see people do it. Like they do it all the time on the Housewives. She gives them besitos, like she gives them 2 kisses, which is like so European. And I feel like it's not American culture at all. I've never seen anyone on the hills do it, that's for sure. And she does it, this like 20-year-old NYU student intern, like it annoyed me so much.
Yeah, she's well traveled, Joe, so she picked it up.
And I'm sure she's like a rich girl from New York. Like, again, it feels like very New York high society.
Yeah, all the Real Housewives definitely do that. And I'm like, where did y'all pick this up from? All your extravagant trips to Europe?
Like, I don't want anyone giving me little cheek kisses.
But one additional period piece scene was when Emily has them start. She's like getting ready for the party, the dinner at Lisa's, and she's like, Lauren, we have some map questing to do. And I was like, oh my God. And they were going to print maps from everyone's address to Lisa's house for the guests. And I just loved that.
What a throwback. I mean, it really did bring back memories of like traveling somewhere and it's like in your passenger seat, you've got your printed out directions on MapQuest,
Yes.
which more brings me back to our possible The Hills drinking game, because I feel like we could do something that's like anytime anything vintage is mentioned, take a shot.
Oh, I like that. And oh my gosh, like how dangerous was it to be having these printed out directions while we were trying to get to places we didn't know? Also, I just remember being like terrified when I'd print like 15 pages and my mom would be like, is that in color? We can't print in color. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble.
Oh, that's so true. And coming out of your printer really slow, and it's like,
I'm like, I gotta be there in 15 minutes.
I don't have time to wait for my MapQuest directions to print.
With all of that being said, I feel like I really expect Lauren and Whitney to raise the bar. They've seen what a New York intern looks like, and maybe we'll see them pick up some of Emily's traits at their job. What do you think, Joe?
I mean, I would love to see our girls in black, sleek turtleneck dresses talking in their really low voices quickly and saying things like a shmurmurmurm. I have to do the shmurmurmurm.
Demanding that they immediately know what a Asian-inspired vase is.
Yes, I agree. I hope I see more of that.
Yeah, so over at Bolt House Productions, where Heidi works, we see her not getting inspired by a New York intern.
No.
She is really like just taking polls, Joe. She's like asking the masses about Spencer. All of her coworkers are getting interviewed. I see her talking to her coworker Kristen, talking to her coworker Elodie, and she's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like one-on-one convos. I'd swear she's setting up meetings and being like, not talking about work at all. It's just like one-on-one convos about if she should get back with Spencer.
Well, Morg, she was recently promoted, so maybe this is what her promotion entailed, was a lot of free time to do what Heidi wants to do, not to bug Brent.
No, and all of them are pretty much giving her the same feedback. While she is not bothering Brent, she's also not working. But all of her coworkers are saying the same thing. They're like, well, I don't think you should get back together with him. Like that's pretty much the consensus. But I think they're also like, we can kind of tell you want to get back together with him. So like, you got to decide this for yourself, Heidi.
Yeah, which was annoying because like, even when she was sitting and talking with Elodie, it was like, Elodie was just like, well, I've said what I've said, but I think you know what you want. You know what I mean? She even like hit the point of, she's like, why are we having this conversation? Clearly you know what you want. And I don't think you're making the right choice. I don't know. It was just like very obvious that it was like Heidi, anytime someone tried to talk some sense into her, she's like, yeah, but but Spencer's this, but Spencer's that.
I don't know. It was just like she wanted to hear everybody say it and see if she was still okay with it. And she did.
Yep, she didn't care, which is, our girl Heidi's whole MO is like, tell me whatever you want. I don't care.
But I was like really hoping she was going to ask Max, her old her coworker from last episodes, like the one that got in a full-fledged fight with Spencer. I wanted her to ask him what he thought.
Oh, Morg, I'm sure they are no longer on speaking terms, and I don't know about you, but I felt like her whole outfit in this scene was a huge FU to Max. She's wearing short shorts and knee-high boots that have a heel, and I just was like, I mean, if that's not the biggest FU ever.
It was a big FU to Max. It was like, oh, you think I'm going to get in trouble for my dress code? I'll show you what should get in trouble, and I already talked to Brent, so I don't get in trouble.
So I'm sure Max is not really excited to input anything on Spencer right now.
I guess that's true. But I was like, where's Max in all of this? Because I want more scenes where he calls her directly from his desk that's in the same room.
Hey, Heidi, I'm over here. I'm the guy waving at you.
Just wanted to warn you. My mess tank got me sent home today. I'm still not over it.
I'm from LA. I hope we see more of him too.
Yeah, I just enjoyed his input. And I just always need a little bit another like statistic of what LA guys are doing, and it's always being a douchebag.
Yes, I mean, I think we've learned so much about the culture, and I think you're right. Every boy that we meet in this show really confirms some things for me, and being a tool is one.
Yes.
And also, there is a very distinct LA boy accent.
Yes.
And I don't really know how to do it yet, but I'm going to keep practicing.
I know. Joe let me know that mine is definitely like South Park-esque, but that's as good as I can get. So
Obviously,
honey. Oh, but as we all know, as all of her coworkers know, we end episode 5 with Heidi clomping down the stairs and out the apartment building. Like you've said before, Joe, she has a very distinct walk, and she clomps down and out and goes to, who is it? Spencer's car. Of course. He's sitting there picking her up. He's like, hey, beautiful. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer to see everybody telling her not to do it, and there she goes.
In her bejeweled tube top dress.
Oh, yes. Bejewels. Also, the men are loving bejewels in these episodes.
Yes, we definitely need to talk about this. So we thought it was an isolated incident, Jason wearing jewel-encrusted dog tags, but Spencer and Brody wear some serious bling to the point where I'm like, does that hurt your neck? Like, they love their diamond crosses.
I don't know why, but for me, it's like a red flag if I feel like if a man wears jewelry.
Same, Morg, but again, we are learning about LA culture because here nobody bats an eye.
No, people, I guess they expect it. Like, I assume like bouncers will be like, men with a diamond encrusted necklace, you're in.
The bigger the bling, the better.
I don't know. I just, no shame in, I guess, men wearing jewelry. I guess I just would always see it now as like a douchebag thing. So I'm considering it a red flag.
I mean, and I can't even say, I feel like maybe there's a tasteful way for a man to wear a man piece of jewelry, but I just think in your face diamond cross is a little bit gaudy. Like, I mean, I as a girl wouldn't even wear that. So I would not be interested in a guy who wore that.
Yeah, to me, it's like the equivalent of women who wear like huge turquoise crosses.
Or like super Texas, like bejeweled belts.
I could never get into those. I don't know. Too flashy.
Too flashy. We're not flashy girls.
We're not flashy girl. My pleather was flashy.
Morg definitely can be flashy, but it's a different kind of flash.
It's a 4th grade trying things out flashy.
The gold pleather.
Y'all, I had a pleather collection. If you haven't listened to our old podcast, 2Bs from Little D, I touch on it.
Oof, no, we deep dive into that.
I guess with Lauren and Spencer, I mean, not Lauren and Spencer, dear God, with Heidi and Spencer back together, this brings on a Lauren and Heidi fight. And so we are definitely seeing the friendship derail these middle episodes of season 2.
Yeah. And more, what do you like? Who is wrong here? Like, I feel like I've been siding with Lauren. I think Heidi's kind of a doofus about it. And although I think Heidi should be able to date who she is, I think Lauren has made it clear, like, she's like, I'm fine if you date him. Like, let's not have that affect our friendship.
Yeah, I was, thinking back to my high school boyfriend and how you alluded to it and made me think of this. I think, like, of course now I'm siding with Lauren, but I was like, Lauren is being a little heavy-handed, and if she doesn't want their friendship to be affected, like, she can't get mad. I think that's the part where she's like just a little bit like, well, is Spencer coming? Are you going to Spencer's? Like, you got to drop those comments at the door and be like, okay, I'm not going to make comments about it anymore, but I also like don't like this person. So I feel like she has to like try to just be like, my feelings about it and I'm done. I do feel like she keeps bringing it up though.
That's true. And you're right. I mean, I guess that makes more sense how Heidi's a little bit like, you're making me choose sides. It's like Lauren does bring it up. Lauren is very quick to like, did you see what Spencer did or whatever? I mean, it's like, just, ignore it. Like, if she doesn't want to hear about Spencer, that's fine. But like, you can't also be bringing him up.
But on the other side, I do see like it would be really hard not to see him do new things and avoid telling her. It's like, sure, I'll stop talking about the old things that he did that you already know, but they're at the club and he is letting a woman lick his neck. How would I not tell like my friend about that? Like I don't know. I would feel like obligated to be like, hey, I'm not bringing up old stuff, but I do keep seeing him do crap.
Yeah, that's so true. But I mean, Heidi's like so not interested in hearing it.
I know. So that's where I'm like, then you got to drop it and you got to be like, hey, we all knew, but we're going to let you ride this one out, lady.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, maybe this isn't, because right now I'm picturing them at the club and I just got a flash of Audrina's hat.
Was it like cowboy-esque? I can't remember.
No, Morg. It kind of, I don't really know how to describe it. It was like a knit newsboy cap, but it was like one of those hats where it like has a lot of hat, like it's got a little itty bitty bill.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
you're so right.
It had a lot of extra knit, so it's like you could stuff your hair into it almost.
Yes. That was a really bad look.
It was just, I never would have associated with a club look, I think.
She's trying things.
Like, LA weather does not require a knit newsboy cap ever.
But Audrina, I mean, I don't know. What is her fashion?
Every day she's a new girl. So, maybe that day she'd watched the Newsies and she felt inspired. And honestly saw her this episode wearing an outfit that I just was like, oh my God, I think I tried to wear something like that. It was like 2 tiny, tight tank tops. Layered
on top of each other. So conformed to her body. I was like, oh my God, I remember that look and being like, wow, I look so good.
Yes.
My very flat chest looks like it has boobs today.
I definitely remember layered tank tops was definitely your look.
Oh my God, I loved it. I was layering tank tops on long sleeve shirts. I was layering them underneath long sleeve shirts. Like, they were everywhere.
You loved your layers.
I really took that fashion statement and was like, I will buy into this. And they were all Old Navy, every single one of them. They had deals. They were like 2 for $15, I remember.
And you were mixing some fun colors and everything.
And I got $1 a day, so I had $30 a month for allowance, and it was all going to those tanks.
$1 a day, nice.
Banking. I had to mow the lawn. Those tanks were filling my closet. I just remember, I like Whitney, I probably needed a tank intervention, a denim intervention for Whitney. I could have used an Old Navy tank intervention.
Yeah, you probably could have hindsight for sure. But at the time, everyone was doing it. You and Audrina, trendsetters.
Well, I think hers were like Abercrombie, which I wasn't allowed to shop there because their clothes were made for tiny people.
Well, and it was so dark. Like there in was it Abercrombie or Hollister?
Yeah,
I just
both of
remember
those places.
like legit buying something thinking it was black and then leaving the store and it was like maroon.
Yeah, it was so dark in that store. Hollister for sure. And like the men were just shirtless. I don't know. My mom was like, "You're not going in there."
Oh my gosh, sorry. Now I am going off on a tangent, but it just makes me think I knew someone that worked at Hollister in high school, and how annoying was it that they'd be like, "I'm a model at Hollister." It's like, "Nah, dude, you're just like a checkout person, a clothing folder, like
You're a retail person.
you're just a straight up retail person. Like, quit feeding me this BS." You know, I guess I get Brian's point now. These people being like, "I hate it when people say they're models and they just work at Hollister."
Yeah, that they need to take a page from Brian's book. Like, don't like say you're a model. Like, I did some modeling, but like, don't say it, man. That's weird.
But like, I'm a model, but I don't say it.
Except for like when MTV's filming me, it's just like that. Ugh, yeah, the Hollister models that they were really doubling down on that for high school kids. They're like, you could be a model at our store. You just have to wear really, really low rise pants in our tiny shirts.
So annoying.
Yeah, that Audrina's looks were really speaking to me this episode's. I forgot the jersey hat or whatever Newsies hat.
It was a look.
With Lauren and Heidi fighting, we are seeing like, yeah, I feel like we are having to like pick sides between them because we're seeing their friendship break down. It's kind of sad. And one thing that Heidi did though that I thought was especially mean was the roses, Joe. That was like super rude.
Morg. So even when she initially did it, I was like, oh, well, I don't know, because I guess I'm looking at it through the lens of these people are all going to go back and watch this show, and she's going to see that Heidi lied to her. So I think the beginning of the episode, Spencer gets Heidi some flowers, and they're even talking about, you know, what's he going to do to win over Lauren? And then he immediately changes his attitude and is like, I hate her because she hates me, with his smile on. But then Heidi goes home and she gives Lauren the roses, and it didn't seem like a joke at all. She's like, here, Spencer got you these roses. And she just kind of like, you know, prances away in Heidi fashion. But
I like legit went back and watched because I thought he did get those roses for her. Like, I was like, oh, I must have missed the part where he was like, you should give the roses to Lauren. I want to win her back. But instead, no, he really does change his story midway through this combo with Heidi. It's just like, first of all, it annoyed me that he joked that he broke the bank buying those roses, because I was like, if you're going to just like allude to like how much money you spent on me, like don't buy this. Like don't do that.
I agree. I don't like his sense of humor at all. Like it's got like remnants of like dad jokey kind of, but like in a meaner way.
Well, and like a little like, you owe me now. Like, I don't know. I was listening, as soon as you're like making things like monetarily, like I spent a lot on you. I just find that really weird.
Yeah, because it's like you should appreciate this.
And me.
Yeah. But anyways, Morg, so back on these roses at the end. So Lauren's under the impression Spencer got her roses, and Heidi never, you know, tells her anything until they are arguing at the end. And she's like, that was a joke. I thought you knew that was a joke.
Yeah. And they like talk crap about her. Like Spencer talks crap about her, about the roses to Brody too. He's like, oh my God. So I got Heidi roses, and then she just gave them to Lauren, and Lauren thinks I got her roses. Like, she's so dumb.
Right? Like it was so clearly like not meant to be a joke if they're then turning around and being like, haha, Lauren now thinks she got her roses. Isn't that funny?
Yes. And when she told Lauren that, I would have done the same thing, slammed the door in her face.
Yeah. No, I agree. I felt like Heidi was totally in the wrong in that moment. Like she shouldn't have done that at all.
Well, and to bring it up when they're fighting already, because they're already like arguing about Spencer, and she's just like, well, yeah, he didn't buy it. Because what was it that even made Heidi react to say it? She's like, oh, well, if he didn't feel bad, he wouldn't have bought me roses. And Heidi's like, ha, he didn't buy you roses. Like, you're a fool. And I was like, oh my God.
She's like, did you actually think he bought you roses? I don't know. It was like really cruel, I thought.
Yeah, I would have definitely been pissed and been like, wow, you're a really bad friend in this moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like they're friendship is on the rocks, and I don't know if it's going to recover, because we do know, of course, that she leaves the show and that they don't ever really mend it. So I don't know if we're going to see some recovery for a bit and then it just goes south or what.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and find out.
But Heidi like freaking moves out after that. Like, I was just like, oh my God, she's packing a suitcase and leaving.
Okay, so did you take that as she was moving? I just thought it was like she just was going for an extended to stay.
Like, it was a huge suitcase.
I mean, they love their huge suitcases.
Yeah, you're right. Lauren took it for an overnight trip to New York.
Not even overnight.
You're right. I don't know. Her packing that suitcase was like kind of like a finalizing moment for me. I was like, oh, wow, you're just like not going to address this huge fight we have, how cruel your joke was about these roses, and leave.
Yeah. Although I loved it when she went to the door and she's like trying to talk to Lauren and Lauren doesn't even open the door. She's just like, Heidi, I don't really want to talk to you.
Yeah, bye. Go out of here. I would think it's not a good time to talk either. Okay. I think there are definitely really good moments to just not continue an argument. It seemed like that was one of them.
Agreed.
You can come back together later and discuss this.
Yeah, but not then.
Oh, and then it creeped me out when Spencer's like, are we having a slumber party?
This is what I mean. It's like he has like a weird variation of like a dad joke, but like meaner and like dirtier. Like, I don't know how you describe it, but like I hate his sense of humor. It's like slumber party. It's like slimy.
Ugh. Yes, slimy. But that's how they are when they're alone, Joe. And that's the secret recipe to their relationship.
Yes, so we caught a glimpse of their passion, and that was it.
Slumber party. Gross. But really, I feel like we have to end this episode of discussion on Lauren and Spencer's fight, because that is really where everything for me came to a head. Like, I was like, I don't know how you recover from this. This man is yelling at a woman like he's trash.
Oh, yeah. I feel like, again, it was kind of one of those moments where I was like, wait, what just happened? Because it felt like it kind of happened really fast. And, you know, to start, like you said at the top of the episode, it starts with Lauren talking with Brody, who Brody is speaking.
God. And the first time he actually says words is to like be rude to her. I feel like Lauren's getting the short end of the stick here.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to be like, Spencer's a really good guy. Why don't you just leave him alone? Which the first thing I realized was like, okay, this is weird, because weren't they just dating like 2 episodes ago? And now there's like no remnant of that. Now it's just like Brody defending his crap friend. So I feel like Lauren's already on the defense, and then Spencer comes and finds her, it feels like.
Well, yeah, and well, we first see Spencer being like, I don't want to go to the club. Like, he's in full manipulation mode of Heidi, because like we said at their lunch, he at first is like, I'm going to win her back. Like, Lauren, as a friend, I'm going to win her back so that you don't have to feel like you're in the middle, Heidi. That's good. Great. Then he like, I feel like he saw his in, and Heidi like probably like talked a little crap about Lauren. And then he's like, you know what's way easier? Manipulating the shit out of my girlfriend and getting her to just hate her best friend. And that's very toxic, but I feel like he saw his in, and that's exactly what we're watching him do, because he's like, I don't even want to go to the club, Heidi, because Lauren's going to be there and she's just going to be in your ear like, I hate Spencer. And I was like, gosh, he's so manipulative.
I know. I hated that, because I feel like, one, he's the guy who's been screwing up, but he's managing to be like, she just hates me. Like, I don't know why she doesn't like me. Like, he's just like turning it like it's really Lauren. I don't know, but it was making me super annoyed too.
Like, we need a recount of events every time he says, I don't know why she doesn't like me. We just need the 2 blonde bimbos to show up, and then that be a reminder of why she doesn't like you.
Every time it says that, it just cuts. I mean, talk about editing. That would have been great. I don't know why she doesn't like me. Cuts to him going, naked picnic.
Right. Him starting his cult. Come on, ladies, naked picnic. Or that woman, like in this exact same scene, he just was having a random woman lick his neck at the club. Where does he find these women to like be so icky for him?
Like, I don't know. I
He's
mean,
a snake, Joe. He's a snake. What is he saying? Like, what is he saying to a woman that he met at the club that could possibly get her to lick his neck?
yeah, like I would never lick a stranger's neck, but Spencer apparently has the ability to make you want to lick his neck.
Cult leader vibes, Joe. That's how he tests if you should be in his cult.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, clearly he's got some sort of power.
All of that to be said, he and Heidi and Lauren are all at the club together. And this is where I'm like a little bit like, Lauren, you got to stay out of it. Like, she doesn't care, but she sees this interaction and this woman like licking Spencer's neck. And she's just like, oh my God, I have to get Heidi out of here. And I feel like it was like flashbacks to season 1 where, you know, like Heidi got her out of there with Jason. I don't know. I thought she was trying to still be a good friend. Like, oh my gosh, Heidi's going to be really upset by this. And so she goes to get Heidi. And I feel like that's when Spencer just like, I don't know, finds her in the club and is like, we need to talk.
Oh, and unleashes the beast, Morg?
Seriously, yes. I feel like this man's like soul gets eaten by someone like perpetuating like his name negatively. Like, I feel like he is just like seething now that Lauren is still telling his girl that he's not a good guy. And instead of trying to be a good guy, he's like, I'm gonna take you down.
Yeah, I hated him. So he like comes and confronts Lauren, and then as she's talking, one, it's loud in a club, so of course I'm sure she is maybe out of anger, but I think out of necessity kind of yelling, and he's just like, relax, take a deep breath, which would make me way angrier.
Yeah, I'd be like, don't tell me to relax. I don't have to be relaxed. You're not relaxed, even though you pretend to be all the time.
Right? Which is what it was made me so mad, because it was like, Spencer, you cannot come at this girl and then act like you're being really cool about it and really calm about it, because you are crazy, dude.
Like ultimate gaslighter. Like, hey, I pulled you aside. I attacked you. Now you need to calm down.
Yeah, and he shushes her. When he shushed her, oh, Morg.
I wrote that down too. I was like, shushing her? Oh, hell no.
You do not shush LC.
You can't shush her. He's like, shh, calm down.
I think that's a moment she walks away too, like I would.
And then, Joe, I also wrote down, I was like, oh my gosh, like Spencer's practicing COVID rules with Lauren Conrad, like before it was cool, because he is like, I will never be within 5 feet of that girl ever again. And I was like, oh.
Whoa, that's kind of crazy. And it makes me feel like Spencer probably has burned a lot of bridges in his life, and he probably exercises this with a lot of people. So I'd be curious to know if he just didn't get COVID from being a jerk and avoiding people.
Yeah, he probably has burned too many bridges to even have like a pod, you know? But I really was like, I don't think she wants to be within 5 feet of you, Spencer. But I feel like he always has to win and like say it first and be like, no, I'm done with her.
Yeah, that's how he works. He's like, no, like she did this to me. It's always like poor Spencer, but he always has to have like the upper hand where it's like he is the one with the control. Like, no, I ended this, or like, I want nothing to do with her.
I guess this is the end. Like, this is the end of LC being friends with this couple, because as we know, Spencer and Heidi like make it to the wedding. So we just, I guess, are going to see over the next episodes of this season, them just continue to get worse. I don't know if they'll have a little relapse, but I'm worried.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see. Like you said, I think we know ultimately their friendship's over, but curious to see if they try to patch it up or if it's just over, and, you know, what's monster Spidey becomes.
And I don't know, Joe, but I was like, who's the biggest villain of this episode's, or these 2 episodes specifically? I kind of was like, Brody.
Oh,
Brody, you don't say crap for so long, and now you're spinning this, like, you're stirring this pot. It really bothered me.
I kind of agree. Like, it made me, before I didn't really have an opinion of Brody. I feel like he just kind of was there, and he was like giving out a lot of compliments, which I wasn't really buying. But this was like, he was pot stirring Morg, and I found that really annoying because I felt like he was being really petty.
Yes. And he was like digging it out of her. Like, I don't know. I was like, you're just trying to be relevant on this show right now.
Yeah, so I agree. I didn't really care for him by the end. I agree. I like that. Brody is definitely the biggest villain this episode.
That's a question I had. Did they continue dating, or was that like it for them?
Well, Brody and Lauren, because I mean, that's what I mean. I think it just seems like it fizzled. I think that was it. Like I read somewhere that it was never really a real relationship. It was like the producers wanted them to get together, but they just didn't mesh well, or like they just weren't a good fit. So I feel like that was it. Like I feel like it just fizzled and they just never addressed it because it never went anywhere.
Yeah, and how can they be friends if like he's buddies with Spencer and now they're like not on good terms? So
he sucks by association. His freaking giant cross.
Be careful who your friends are. You might just join a cult.
He'll be like the second in command, like, hey, you want some jelly beans off my countertop?
My mom decorated my apartment.
Condo. It's a fancy condo.
Oh, it's a condo. You're right. Well, Joe, I am ready for the second half of this season. I think we are excited to see how Spidey continues to grow as the ultimate villain of the Hills overall. And I also am just excited that we got these 2 bonus episodes. We got 12 episodes to watch this season. So continue rewatching with us. Come along if you haven't already. These episodes go quick. They're like 20 minutes long. You can find them on Hulu. And we are the Double Loser Podcast. Follow us on Instagram. We'll be back next Friday with new episodes. We'll be rewatching episodes 7 and 8 next week. So follow along. You know you want to rewatch with us.